Right, in our very brief study of statistics in Math 3, the very first thing we're going to talk about is sampling methods. So two vocabulary terms are going to be kind of important to know in our study of sampling methods for today is first population. So a population is a set of similar items or events. Events could be subjects, like people, which are of some interest or for some question or experiment. And then a bias is favoring some types of populations over others. Favoring some types of populations over others. Okay, so we're going to look at different ways that you can get samples. A sample being information about a population, so about an event or about a subject or about an item. Different ways that you can take samples, because you don't take samples the same way. And there's pros and cons about how you could take those samples. So about their efficiency or about how fair they are, that sort of thing. So about how accessible it is to you, something like that. And then the goal of today would be that when you look at a situation, you can recognize what type of sample it is, and then you could see if there's any bias within how that sample was taken. So the first type of sample is a simple random sample. A simple random sample. So a simple random sample is a sample where all individuals in the population have the same probability of being selected, and all groups of the same sample size have the same probability of being selected. So we're talking about the population is our classroom, and we take everybody's name, put it on a slip of paper that is the same size, fold all the slips of paper in half, put them in a hat, and I draw a name at random. It's a simple random sample. Everybody has exactly the same possibility of being selected. That's a simple random sample, right? Second option is stratified random. A stratified random sample is where the researcher divides the entire target population into different subgroups or strata, and then randomly selects the final subjects proportionally from the different strata. So this would be like, I put you guys into your table groups, and then I say, the person that is sitting in the table group in the middle seat, that person is going to be the representative from the group. So the strata would be the different tables. Everybody goes to a different table group, and then the person in the middle seat, the middle seat is going to be the person. I didn't come up with these examples ahead of time, so I'm thinking off the top of my head. The person in the middle seat is the person who is going to be randomly selected. because I didn't plan ahead of time who was going to sit in the middle seat. You guys would have planned, although a lot of you guys do sit in the seats every day. Those are assigned. Let's say that I told you guys today to randomly sit in your groups, whoever wanted to sit wherever they could. So you guys would randomly sit wherever you wanted. And then out of those groups, I'd say whoever sat in the middle seat, you guys are the ones who were chosen. That would be stratified random. The third type is systematic random. So a systematic random sample is the researcher selects a number at random and then selects every nth individual for study. So this is if I was like standing at the door when you came in and I said every fourth person is going to answer the questions of my study. So it was just random as you came in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then those people were the ones who would answer the questions or would be chosen for whatever I happened to be studying, those would be the people who would participate. The fourth option is a convenience sample. So a convenient sample is just subjects are taken from a group that is conveniently accessible to the researcher. So here, this would be something like maybe I'm standing in the back corner of the room and I want to know how an assignment is going for everybody in the room. And so I ask the table closest to me and I get a sample of like the 4 people at that table or the 3 people at that table. Hey, how is this assignment going? And then I assume that that is a representation of the entire group. That's a convenient sample. So that's an example of what that would look like. Or I want to know questions about the entire student body, how they've reacted to something. So I ask all of the students in my room, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then I assume that those answers are representative of the entire student body. Because those students were conveniently located in my room, I can't ask the entire student body. So I think that those voices are probably true for the entire student body, but I don't know because I didn't ask everyone. All right, number 5, a cluster sample. The entire population is divided into groups or clusters, and a random sample of these clusters are selected. All the individuals in the selected clusters are included in the sample. So this is very similar to stratified random. The difference is, so this would be like, hey, you guys are in your different table groups. The difference here is that with stratified random, I had everyone broken up into table groups and I took the middle person in each table group. Here, I divide everyone into table groups and then I take one table group in the back corner, one table group in the front, and then one table group in the middle. And I say those 3 table groups are the groups that I'm going to ask questions of. So instead of taking one person from each group, I ignore some groups and I use other groups. So that's the difference between a cluster and stratified random. Okay, so both of them you divide into groups. Stratified random, you take something from each group. In the cluster, you take the entire group for a few of them, but you ignore some of the other groups, right? And then the last one is voluntary response. The subject voluntarily responds to a survey. Somebody takes the initiative to have their voice heard. You guys have heard this a lot. This is when you write a review for an item on Amazon, when you're listening to the radio and they say, call in, tell us what you think about your opinion about this. When you are voting on something on a website, clicking through something. So a lot of people ignore it And people typically only do voluntary response if they have a strong positive or negative opinion. So voluntary response, it's nice because it's easy, as far as like cheap to get that type of information. You just put it up there, and whoever wants to do it does it, and whoever doesn't want to do it doesn't do it. But the information you get back is pretty skewed to really positive or really negative, because the people who are apathetic just won't do it. So voluntary response would be like Amazon reviews, that sort of thing, where people just do it if they want to, and a lot of people are going to kind of ignore it.